Welcome to the program. I'm Andrew Wilkow. Tonight, a special broadcast on illegal immigration. We have chaos on our southern border and anarchy in our federal government as President Barack Obama has chosen to exercise authority not, and I repeat, not granted to the federal executive under Article 2 of the United States Constitution. The president has no power whatsoever to unilaterally change immigration law. Now, at first, it seemed like he understood this. Here's President Obama explaining on Univision that he can't just change laws on his own.
The notion that I can just suspend deportations through executive order, that's just not the case, because there are laws on the books that Congress has passed, and I know that everybody here at Bell is studying hard, so you know that we've got three branches of government. Congress passes the law. The executive branch's job is to enforce and implement those laws.
Wow, it was almost as if he acknowledged Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution. You know, the enumerated powers of Congress, like to establish a uniform rule of naturalization and uniform laws on the subject of bankruptcies throughout the United States. But then came this.
Effective immediately, the Department of Homeland Security is taking steps to lift the shadow of deportation from these young people. Over the next few months, eligible individuals who do not present a risk to national security or public safety will be able to request temporary relief from deportation proceedings and apply for work authorization.
His reasons might be nice and cute and all well and good, but they don't change the Constitution. Now, let me quote Article 4, Section 4. The United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion. Now, tonight, we're going to speak to Arizona Governor Jan Brewer about her fight with the Obama administration's failure to uphold Article 4, Section 4. Now, you know what the most sickening part about this debate over people who enter our country illegally is? The fact that activists and progressives have turned the debate into a question of race and away from the rule of law. Let me just say this loud and clear. This has nothing to do with Hispanics. There is no policy that bars people from Latin American countries from becoming legal American citizens. Now, that's not to say that we can't have quotas with regard to national origin. After all, immigration policy has to be set to benefit the host nation, not the immigrant. And to be truthful, nobody has the right to immigrate into the United States. It's not like everyone around the globe is born a potential American endowed with constitutional rights. No nation on earth has an open border. In fact, more countries are trying to further protect their borders. Since the collapse of the Berlin Wall 22 years ago, 28 different nations have constructed border walls, and it's not to keep their own people in. Plus, no welfare state with an open border can survive, and currently, we have both. What's even more amazing is that in 2010, we had to sit through a lecture from Mexican President Felipe Calderon about provisions in Arizona's immigration law that allows police to question immigration status when enforcing other laws.
I strongly disagree with the recently adopted law in Arizona. It is a law that not only ignores a reality that cannot be erased by decree, but also introduced a terrible idea using racial profiling as a basis for law enforcement.
Now, he knows there's no racial profiling provision in SB 1070, but like clockwork, the Democrats gave him a standing ovation. But then, in a moment of skepticism and journalism, CNN's Wolf Blitzer pressed Calderon about Mexico's own immigration policy.
Under the Mexican law, illegal immigration is a felony, punishable by up to 2 years in prison. Immigrants who are deported and attempt to re-enter can be imprisoned for 10 years. Visa violators can be sentenced to 6-year terms. Mexicans who help illegal immigrants are considered criminals. Is that true?
It was true, but it's not anymore. We derogate or we erase that part of the law. Actually, illegal immigration is not a crime in Mexico, not anymore, since 1 year ago.
He goes on to tell Wolf Blitzer that police do check IDs. They don't just let people in without filling out paperwork and signing documents. But you know what? It wouldn't shock me if President Calderon was a little unfamiliar with the Mexican Constitution. I mean, after all, President Obama seems pretty ignorant when it comes to our Constitution. A year after President Calderon claimed it wasn't a felony to illegally cross the border, the Mexican Senate modified their immigration law to no longer make it a criminal act. But as of now, Mexico's institute responsible for immigration, the INM, has not adopted the law into its code. Until this takes place, the new rule remains on the country's books, but it's not being practiced. Now, I have to get into the Mexican Constitution. Here's what the Mexican Constitution lays out when it comes to immigration. Article 30 defines Mexican nationality as acquired by birth or naturalization. Seems pretty cut and dry. Article 32 says that Mexicans shall have priority over foreigners under equality of circumstances and for all employment positions or commissions of the government in which status of citizenship is not indispensable. So we have Title I, Article 3, no serving in the military, right? Section 20, those not born in the territory of the Mexican nation to be representatives, that's like House of Representatives, the federal level, must have, besides 8 years residence in it, $8,000 of real estate in any part of the republic or an occupation that produces them 1,000, I assume, pesos per year. So restrictions on poor people who might have come into the country from being elected to the federal government. Boy. Now, would you believe if I told you this, that the Mexican Constitution actually allows for citizens to arrest illegal immigrants? It does. Now, couple that to this next portion. What's really significant, I want you to pay attention, the federal executive, that's the president, shall have the exclusive power to compel any foreigner whose remaining he may deem inexpedient to abandon the national territory immediately without the necessity of previous legal action. So no due process. Unlike here, there's no challenging your deportation orders. You go when they tell you to. If our immigration and naturalization laws are racist and anti-Hispanic, then what are Mexico's? I mean, by this standard, the Mexican government is really anti-Latino. So tell me, what's the difference? The only thing you cannot do as an immigrant in the United States is become president. Now, people used to want to come to this country for freedom and the American dream, for its endless opportunity, not some government handout.